Hi, I'm Millie Murillo.
I'm Ashley Torrent.
And I'm Patsy Kenny.
Welcome to the Blue Butterfly Effect podcast, a gathering place for real conversations and quiet revolutions.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Blue Butterfly Effect podcast. I am Patsy Kenny, and I am here with my beautiful soul friends and co-hosts, Millie Murillo and Ashley Torrent. We are delighted to be with each of you today. And today we're going to be diving into a topic I think is super relevant, and that is social anxiety, how to approach it in a soulful way. And before we really get into it, I'm going to ask Ashley to open up our conversation with a soul reset. That was something that was really beautifully received in our last episode, so we'd like to do that again. So I hand it over to you, Ash. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. And thank you everyone who is with us today. We're just going to take a few minutes to connect to our soul. And I always feel like this is a reset that helps us soften into the space of receiving and listening and curiosity. So I invite you to become aware of your breath. And just notice your inhale and your exhale. Maybe the cool air through your nose and the warm air out as you breathe. Or the rise and fall of your chest, wherever your focus feels comfortable, just breathing gently with your body as it is. And as we breathe, we're slowing down. You've chosen to listen to this podcast, so to me that means you've intentionally decided to step into a space of curiosity. You've intentionally chosen to be a part of this conversation, to listen. So as we do this, as we prepare to meet this conversation, we just step away with our breath from the practical world, from the busyness, letting go of anything that's calling to us. And we're moving into the space of soul, of heart. It's a softer energy. It's a more receptive energy. And as we breathe, we invite the light of our soul to the forefront of our awareness. We're shifting our gaze away from the mind and into that divine light inside of us. Inviting that light to fill our heart space. And just breathing with that light. That reminder that you are an eternal being, a source of unconditional love. That you are one with everything. And then invite that light to fill every corner of your being so that your body is radiating in your soul's light. You, this divine expression of spirit. And what a miracle you are. There is no one like you. So as you breathe and you feel this expansive light within you, take a minute and recognize or celebrate that you are a true individual. That your being here is purposeful and intentional and an act of magic and love. And just as you breathe, notice how your body receives that. Just taking another breath as you shine in your own radiance. We invite our light to travel down through our bodies, through our legs, through our feet, through our toes, and connect to the earth, offering our love and gratitude to this beautiful planet. Thank you for being our Earth Mother. Thank you for all the ways you support our life here. And we offer you a prayer of love and gratitude and peace and healing and harmony in your body. Thank you. And we also offer our love to the collective body, This reminder that we are one. May all beings know that they are love. May all beings remember their true nature. May all beings be free. And staying rooted into the earth, we invite our light to move up through the center of the body and out the crown of our head as we expand into the magic and mystery that lives there, offering our love and gratitude to the sun, the moon, and the stars. Thank you for all the ways you support our life here. And breathing with your expansiveness as you shine from root to crown, honoring your humanity and radiating in your true spiritual nature. Breathing with that and noticing what it feels like to allow your soul to shine. Taking another mindful breath, feeling that expansiveness, letting your body remember this feeling. And then when you're ready, come back to the awareness of the body, come back to the awareness of the space you're in. Feel the seat underneath you. And open your eyes. And when you do, just take a few moments to look around where you are. And I just want to say thank you for being with us, and thank you for being a part of this conversation.
Really beautiful, Ash. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Such a grounding way to start. So, this topic of social anxiety feels like a pretty potent one that I personally have felt more of in this post-COVID era. I was quite social prior to that invitation to go inward. Maybe invitation is too soft of a word. It was sort of forced upon us. We were told we couldn't go outside and we had to keep our distance from people. And I think within that space, there was an opportunity to reflect and reevaluate like where our energy would like to flow. But I've been really thinking about, what makes this a thing? Like, where does this come from? And why do all of us or many of us feel like we can associate with it? And like, what is the root of this? And I think there's this tension of opposites a lot of times that stems from meeting expectations of what's going to happen within this social container and what and how our soul really wants to be expressed. And that's where that tension shows up, that anxiety, as we've labeled it, social anxiety. In groups, there's a component of safety too, right? And this also core, I think, deeply rooted desire to be in connection with others. If we think about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? The connection piece comes quickly after food and shelter. And so there's like this innate sense of, well, he names it belonging, right? This desire for belonging. And so within that deeply rooted structure, hierarchy, I've found that the need for belonging often comes up against, like, if I'm not rooted in self and my own belonging with self, that I tend to conform to the space. And then there's, again, this tension of like, oh, I've abandoned self, or I have not shown up fully. I've sort of stayed within the boundaries of what I believe this container is requesting of me. So I wanted to start us there and give you each an opportunity to speak to that. I know, Ash, as a psychospiritual counselor and intuitive, you can really speak to the somatic piece of that. And I'm also really curious. I know you have that somatic background as well, Millie, but I'm also really curious to know, like, astrologically, if there is something in the cosmos that's like formulating an acute awareness around this tension of opposites.
Well, it's interesting as a parent, being a parent, it makes me so aware of how early the training around being social starts. And I've heard it through other parents that how their child greets a group the first day of school. I would notice when people would come to my house, the expectation from people for my child to receive them in a certain way. I remember as a kid the forced kindness, the forced politeness, the forced hugs, right? So I feel like we have this societal expectation of how we should behave around other people, and it starts as when we're in our parents' arms and we're greeting new people. And knowing what I know about myself and just how we're all unique individuals who meet different energy, different people differently, I really think it's important that as we watch ourselves and our children, you can see children regulate themselves by staying maybe in the corner of the room or the back of the room. Some children go and greet immediately because that's where they're comfortable. That's probably a way where they're meeting the energy for them that feels good. And there's other children that observe and pause. And we end up calling these children shy, or we project onto them that, oh, just give them time and they'll get there. But I feel like we really need to pay attention to, we're all so different. And if we could adjust the expectations of how we're supposed to behave and perform in these social situations and really allow us to be individuals and move at our own pace, even as adults, like I've had friends get frustrated with me because I'm not extroverted. I'm not making best friends with all the people and having conversations the minute I walk into the room. I'm an observer. I'm like, let's see what's going on here. I'm going to check the energy. I'm going to observe, and then I'll meet the group when I'm ready, not because someone expects me to be ready. So I think whether we're talking about it or not, those expectations pull at us. As soon as we know something social is happening, it's like what you were saying, like, how do I want to authentically be versus how everyone expects me to behave. Mm-hmm. And that creates that tension.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of room for individuality in that.
And I wonder, when you add the layer of different cultural backgrounds,
For sure.
Yes.
Right? That's a big deal. That's a big deal when you come, when you have different cultural backgrounds, and it's something that I don't always know what to make of it, right? I have a nephew now, right? So I notice how my sister does not push my nephew to just say hello to everybody. I mean, he's going to be 2, right? But it starts that early, right? It does start that early to push children. And, she's gotten some feedback from the older women in our family of like, oh, you're raising, what do you call it? A kid who doesn't have manners, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then she says, no, I'm raising a kid who gets to decide if that's what he wants to do at that moment in time. Mm-hmm. But it's this belief that kids don't get to decide that.
Right.
Right. And I remember being a little girl, maybe not 2, right? But like 5, right? 6, and being forced to say hello to certain people that I remember my body just feeling really scared about or of, and I didn't know why. Right. So it's this, I mean, I don't necessarily know that it's a fine line, but it is something that culturally, if you do not have those manners, right? Air quotes manners, then you're making your parents look bad.
Yes. Oh gosh, yeah.
You're making your family look
so
bad.
Much
like,
pressure.
Oh, they didn't raise you right. Like, what? But this guy feels like a creep. And,
you had every intuitive moment to say it made sense for you to be backing away or reacting that way.
Absolutely. So I don't know if I don't know that there's a right or wrong. I don't, that's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is that that's a lot of pressure.
So much pressure.
And yes. And that like trains us. Why wouldn't we have anxiety in social situations when from the moment like we're little, we're expected to take care of other people's feelings and make someone look good? Then we're
Yeah.
set up to fail each other.
Yeah.
Truly. And then that comes to like, this desire to be moving through the world or practice to be moving through the world more authentically. And in fact, it's like no one's doing that. So like we're not getting like true relational experience because we're all responding to these conditions in which we were raised. Yeah, I mean, it was really acute in my family. And not only like how to show up when you're outside of the house, but how do you show up when somebody happens to drop by with something?
Mm-hmm.
So like unannounced, they'd and then it's like immediate. You invite them in, you sit them down, you offer them a beverage, right? There could be so many other things happening within the context of the home in that moment, and now this has become the focus, and you truly like had to turn it on, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So the opposite of my house, where my mom would be like, "Don't answer the door, everyone hide."
I love that.
And
That's
that
an
was because there was another level of crazy,
30-year-old.
something else going on, like hiding under the glass door.
Oh my goodness.
But what you're saying, that's so much pressure. In a small town, people probably dropping by all the time.
All the time.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
And even that, even when you're not, say, like going to a gathering, but you're out in the world, you're at the local store, or you stop for gas or whatever, there is the expectation you will have a 20-minute conversation with someone who is not like active in your life that you knew from a past, whatever, an old school teacher, a coach, whatever. And it's like, yeah, a lot of pressure, a lot of forced niceties.
Niceties, a lot of forced niceties. Yeah. And then it's like this thing of like, well, what, it's just once, or it's just a few minutes. It's just, and it's like, yeah, but those things add up. They add up and they end up shaping your behavior and they end up shaping your character.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure.
Yeah.
I also think it's really interesting to go back into those early childhood development stages where, like, Millie, your example of like sensing that this is
Mhm.
not something you want to interact with, it starts
Mhm.
then to
Mhm.
like fracture the trust we have within ourselves and our own intuition. It starts
For sure.
then, you
For
know?
sure.
And it takes time then as adults, of those of us who are in that space of unraveling like the conditioning. No
Yeah.
wonder it feels like, oh my goodness, how many more layers do I have to unpack to
Yeah.
get to the truth of who I am and what feels right for me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when I if we touch on the astrology of it, right? You mentioned how how social anxiety kind of became, I think it just became more apparent.
Yeah.
Right? I think when you are faced with that degree of fear and potential death, right? Whether um, that was realistic for you or not, it's almost like, well, I don't care anymore. I don't care for the niceties too much anymore. So then I think the social anxiety is probably a little bit more honest than not,
Mm.
because it's people wanting to navigate the world on their own terms, and still a huge part of the world telling them that that's unacceptable, or that they're weird, or what's wrong with them, right? I mean, I think we've talked about this before in another episode, where we live in a society that caters to extroverts, right? And
Mhm.
so um when we look at this from, I think, an astrological perspective, it's the shift in society that started, I think, with Saturn in Aquarius back in 2021, and that is continuing to be, I think, purged with Pluto in Aquarius. I think to adjust to a much more honest expression, genuine expression, um, and sovereign expression of self, right? I think that people are trying to navigate a world that has told them that they have to behave a certain way to be accepted, and saying, I don't want to do that anymore, but I did do it for so long that I am rediscovering who I am.
Yeah.
And that is I mean, at this moment in time, I think that has a lot to do with everything happening in the sky, with planets being in new signs, and us just realizing that the same relationships and friendships that I used to have, I'm not that anymore. I don't fit into that anymore. Um, social settings. So if someone who has, more of a traditional job, and we're all experiencing this change and transformation, but they're realizing this isn't important for me anymore. These conversations aren't important for me anymore. I don't care to go to happy hour anymore. I don't care to have these conversations. It's, I think it's more people coming into themselves in a almost aggressively honest way that they can't help,
Yeah.
because I think that's what needs to happen at this moment in time. And so we're going through a period of readjustment.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. If for me, it feels even more acute now in my nervous system.
Mhm.
Like in the past, I would be able to like override that, even if the sensation was there, I'd still be able to like turn it on and show up and still be like, and also find joy in it. It's not that I was like there wasn't any bit of authenticity in these moments, but like now I have this like it's like my body is like nope, can't do it, won't do it,
No,
which I think is really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't force it.
You can't
no,
force it.
no. And I'm in this place, and I'm, maybe it's not just my age, but I think it's also just lived experience of like relationships ending or having experiences that you realize you survive all these things that you're afraid of. And at this point, I'm just like,
Yeah.
I just don't have it in me to pretend anymore. I don't have it in me to force anything or be anything anyone else wants me to be. I just can't. I recently went to a wedding, and after about an hour and a half, I was like, okay, because I didn't know anybody there, and but I love to say hi to all the people, and then I was like, okay, I'm good. That's my limit,
Mhm.
um, and I have to honor that, and it feels so good to honor it. And also, there's this feeling of I'm spending less time going, oh, I wonder if I'm okay. Am I dressed okay? Do I look okay? Do they like me? I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I just don't anymore. I feel so self-contained.
It's a beautiful thing.
It's so liberating because ultimately, what does it matter? Like, if I'm wearing the right thing, if I look a certain way, like, if that's what people are wanting to connect with me about, then that's not the way I want to connect. So you either feel me or you don't. I feel you or I don't.
Mhm. Mhm.
But we've been conditioned that those things are important, and like like the outside appearance, status, money, what we do, all those outside things that just don't even matter when you get down to it. Because when you're relating to someone, what really matters is how you feel in their presence. And if we're all faking it, then we're never going to know how we feel together.
Mhm.
What kind of jeans you wear doesn't tell me how it feels to spend time with you.
So true. So
Yeah.
true. So, in these scenarios where we're invited to be social, and maybe there is that kind of inkling of like questioning, firstly, do I want to attend this gathering? I'm just curious, like, how each of you approach this now. So, there's like, you went to this wedding, you didn't know anyone there, you chose to show up, you were present, but you also gave yourself permission to exit before the probably accepted or expected time frame, like what are some of the practices y'all are abiding by these days to navigate these scenarios?
I have to be honest, as we're sitting here, I never thought of it before, but I stopped drinking just because I was like have a glass of wine socially, but I stopped drinking 2 years ago and I don't miss it. And I think it has made socializing so much better, which sounds counterintuitive because I'm not avoiding the thing anymore. I'm not, oh, I need to have a drink to ground or come together, slow down, whatever. Those don't even make sense. I don't need to have a drink to make it palatable or easier for me to be here. I'm just here. And it just feels like every interaction. And then what I noticed as people start drinking, which is probably why I was like done after an hour and a half at a wedding, was the conversations start to be like kind of weird, different. You're not really communicating in the same place. So I don't really have much to say, but being sober at these gatherings has made like everything so much clearer for me. It's actually made it so much easier because now I know I can listen to myself. I can trust myself. I'm in like honest conversation with myself of my limits, my boundaries, what I want, what I don't want. And I'm not pretending anymore. And alcohol makes it so easy to like pretend.
Mm-hmm.
Such
Mm-hmm.
a great.
I
Yeah.
remember I used to, when I was in my 20s, there was not like a gathering, a meal, whether it was brunch, lunch, dinner, where I wouldn't drink, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Um,
me too.
everything, like whether it was whatever, champagne, wine, whatever was appropriate for the time of day. And I remember feeling like, not in these specific words, because I think there was a big lack of awareness of what was happening within me, but it's like, oh, this is just going to loosen me up a little bit, right?
Yes.
Like there was something wrong with me.
Right.
This is just
Right.
going to loosen me up a little bit. And at the time, I spent a lot of time with a former friend of mine who is like a complete extrovert, right? So, on the one hand, for me, it felt like she did the heavy lifting to talk to people. And then if people talked to me, great. And if they didn't, they didn't, right? I didn't care for it. And on the other hand, there were times where I was like, fuck, why do we have to talk to these fucking strangers that I don't know? But not having the wherewithal to say anything, right? Just go along, just go with the flow. But I had to drink to get through it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Um, and for a few years now, for a while now, I cut back on drinking a lot, just very naturally. I getting older, like to have a drink and to have a headache, then it's just not worth it. So what it did, and it's interesting because like the reduction of alcohol consumption, every once in a while I'll have a glass of wine or something, but it's every once in a while. But the reduction of alcohol consumption, as I think about it, really lined up with when I started doing like really deep inner work,
Mm-hmm.
right? And realizing, oh, I was pretending, I was forcing myself, I was putting myself in these situations for an array of reasons, right? We don't have to go down the list, but it is this, now I just check in with myself. Like, do I want to be there? And I'll tell you, as time goes on, if I just don't feel like being somewhere, I'm not going to be there. I don't care whose function it is, what function it is. I don't care because there's just, I think what we're tapping into as well, excuse me, as well is like a lack of resonance
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh, yeah. I can relate to
that
that.
your body just can't deny.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's an interesting journey. It's an interesting journey to move through, to think about, because I think there was a lot of self-abandonment in those moments when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Yeah. I can really relate to that. And I was someone who was considered extroverted. I mean, I still, I guess, would identify with that, but I think I'm somewhere in between nowadays. Like, I enjoy my people. I enjoy in learning about people and being with people. And then it's like I need like extreme hibernation and reset mode to just like return to self and center and synthesize like parts of the conversations or the experience. But recently, I had an opportunity to attend like a workshop with a friend, and it was a pretty small gathering. Like, it ended up being like a handful of people who were in attendance here, and there was two tables set up. And in my mind, I was like, oh, I'm so excited that it's intimate. Like, my friend and I get to have like this intimate time together where it's like more one-on-one, even though we're kind of in the company of others, but we can focus on like catching up and being together. This is going on in my mind, so I didn't voice this. And as I'm like celebrating, like, oh, we can sit by ourselves, my friend walks into the setting and she's like, oh, let's make new friends. And now these other folks who are sitting down hear us, and we're like, oh, okay, now we're going to that table, you know? And so I had this moment of like, wow, that's so interesting. And even afterwards, she reflected back. She goes, I don't know what came over me. You're typically the more extroverted one who would like lead us into that scenario. It just came over me. And we realized pretty quickly, like, there was not a shared resonance with the others at the table. Like, I mean, a few minutes into the whole experience. And so I felt myself sort of being more insular. Like, a past version of me would have tried harder to like uplift the conversation, to get everybody to be involved and that kind of thing. And I was like, I'm just going to be present within me. And then, we left after we completed the task, and went and grabbed lunch and had that moment, those shared moments of intimacy anyhow. But it's just really interesting. And it made me wonder, or kind of take note to self to say, like, in advance of gatherings like that, where maybe you're going with someone else, it's, or even within yourself, before you say yes to the invitation, you're like, okay, what do I want to, how do I want this experience to be for me? Like, what do I want to gain from this? What do I want to walk away feeling more so than anything? Like, even in settings where it might be business related or you're in a networking kind of space, like nowadays it would be, if I had one conversation that's deeply meaningful and there's a shared resonance, like, that feels phenomenal. Old me would have met every single person in the crowded room, like, hey, you know. And so I think just having an awareness and an intentionality kind of approach to any scene that's social, that you're entering, probably take some of that anxiety away.
That's so important. It's a new idea that's come up, about intentionality around social gatherings. Why are we gathering? How do I want to be in this? And I feel like that was one of the things the wedding felt so good to me, is that I knew why I was there. I wanted to celebrate the couple. I wanted to offer my love to the family. But once the speeches and everything was done, I knew I'm not here to socialize and make new friends. My reason for being here, I've
Right.
accomplished, and I've offered my love. And now everybody is heading to another stage of the night. And this is an appropriate time for me to exit. And I feel like giving ourselves permission to like, even for what you just did, my time is with my friend, and that's the only reason I'm here. I don't need to extend myself to anyone else or make strangers comfortable. I'm here to be time with my friend. And like, that's so beautiful. And that just makes our time so much more meaningful and purposeful. And then there's natural boundaries around it. So we're not just like depleting ourselves or putting ourselves in situations where we're constantly compromising.
If we're on this granting of self permission to be where we want to be, to not be where we don't want to be at any given moment in time, just remembering, right, that we get to do what we want whenever we want at any given moment, right? And if sometimes you feel like doing somewhere and being somewhere, that's okay. And if sometimes you don't, then you don't. Because here's the thing, when we talk about resonance, when we talk about alignment, when we talk about energy, we are the only ones responsible and have the agency to touch in and say what feels the most resonant with me right now. And that matters. that matters with the resonance that you carry throughout other aspects of your life.
Absolutely.
I realized personally that when I got very, I would say very serious and very committed to doing what I felt at at any given moment in time, there was I really cultivated a peaceful life because I wasn't going back and forth with myself,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
This is important because whenever we don't feel at peace or we're experiencing a lack of peace outside of ourselves or our life is somehow reflecting chaos, we have to come back to ourselves and ask ourselves, what's happening within me that I'm either a witness to this or experiencing this personally?
Mm-hmm.
If we get deep down to this isn't superficial. We're not just talking about social anxiety from a place of, you know, I don't know. I mean, we're not like diagnosing anyone here. We're talking about it from a place of soul,
Yeah.
right? We're
Yeah.
talking about it because for me, it was a really big thing to realize, oh, when I was younger, I self-abandoned in those situations so much because I felt alone. I felt like an alien. I couldn't, be myself because it felt, dangerous or whatever it was. And as we get older, we have, again, not just the agency, but the responsibility to choose. And that energetically matters.
It
It
does.
is that serious to all of the decisions in our lives only come from us.
Mm-hmm.
And the resonance of checking in with self first matters
Oh my
because
gosh.
it is in those seemingly micro moments that you create your reality, how you feel in it, and how you experience it.
Yeah. And not only is it a gift to self, but it's a gift to those who you are in relationship with or in
Mm-hmm.
social connection with. I've started
Mm.
to bring this notion of like high intention, low attachment to invitations. So, like, if we're planning something, right, or there's an idea that comes up where there's like, oh my gosh, it would be so fun to, or hey, upcoming this weekend, I'm going to be at this, you're welcome to join me, like my friends now are like, okay, hey, how we still feeling about that plan? Does that
Mhm.
still resonate? Like based on what has accumulated throughout the week, do we still have
Right.
energy for this? Like, and there's permission now granting happening among the relationships in these social settings where it's like, oh no, let's bail on it. And there's no hard feelings. And it's like, it's a deep appreciation for the other's energy too. Like there is this reciprocity in these containers I'm finding now. And that feels amazing because what might have prevented me in the past from canceling at the last minute, do you know what I mean? Like all that obligation piece felt like so much pressure. Like, oh, now I've said yes. They're counting on me. They're expecting me for dinner, right? Who the host has like spent money and expecting me to come. And now I'm like, oh, I'm not in the right place. Like I'm not in resonance with this in this moment, but now I'm going to go and I'm going to kind of half be present because so I've just started, it's become a practice. It's really ingrained. I've just started saying, I would absolutely love to be there. I will let you know. Like, I'll check in a few days before. Or I know already I can't make it because I'm traveling. Whatever. Just more communicative, way up front. And it's felt so much better.
Yeah.
I love that.
I think that's such a, gentle, honest way of checking in with yourself. Personally, like if I can't have flexibility in friendships like that, then, it's probably not going to be a friendship for very long.
Right.
Well, and don't we want honesty in friendships?
Yes,
Right.
absolutely, Ash. Yeah, I was gonna say it's been like a filter for me because if that's not held with reciprocity or like, yeah, what's the word I want? Like in positive regard, knowing that I'm saying yes, like for both of us, right? I want to be
Mm-hmm.
showing up as present and fully me as possible. And
Mhm.
so If that's like skewed, the feedback is like anything other than loving, I'm like, oh, maybe this I'm going to spend less time here in this engagement.
And again, it's resonance. It's like you're allowed to feel how you feel about it, and I'm allowed to not be there if I don't feel called to. This is what we're moving into. This We are really moving into, energetically speaking, into relationships that we are in relationship with sovereign beings, right?
Mm.
And we have to understand that accepting another as a sovereign being is accepting that they are allowed to be where they are, feel how they feel, think how they think about whatever it is. And if we can just accept that we don't have to be in relationship with them, but we can just accept, okay, that's you and this is me. We are truly healing codependence, because so much, I think the underlying tone of this entire conversation is codependence. If I don't behave a certain way, then I'm not going to be loved. So I better behave a
Mm.
certain way so that I'm loved, so that I'm chosen, so that I'm accepted.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think that so much of the air energy in the cosmos right now, so much of the fire energy is just very, it's very black and white. It's very like, it's very matter of fact. And there's a liberation in that. There's a liberation in that. And I think that those that are, I don't know, those that are really tied to certain societal standards are going to have a really difficult time with it, and that's okay. But over time, what it does is it makes you clear about what you want, who you want to be around, and a very natural channel to receive that.
Mm.
This isn't about division. This is actually about unity. As you said, Ashley, don't we want our relationships to be honest? Yes, we do. We don't want them to be forced. And more, I think we're going to, at least that's the invitation.
Mhm. And it requires self-awareness of like, how am I feeling around these people? How am I feeling in the situation? I found myself a couple of years ago. I used to love to be in this space with these certain people. And then at some point, I started dissociating on my way to the space that once felt safe. And I didn't pay attention to it. I remember feeling like I'm dissociating, but then on to the next, whatever, that's just me. And then there was like a significant rift in the community that I was a part of. And I was like, oh, my body was telling me something's changing here. It's not resonating with you anymore. And I was overriding that and putting myself in that situation over and over again until it blew up in my face. And so all of what we're talking about around being social, around relationships, around codependency, pleasing, all these things is like this self-awareness of really checking in like with your own resonance of like what resonates with me and giving yourself permission for things to change, noticing when they're changing. Like it's not just like one decision, oh, these people feel good and safe and they're always going to feel safe. Like we're constantly changing and giving ourselves permission for our relationships to evolve and move and shift.
Yeah, nailed it. Absolutely. It has me thinking as you both were sharing, we touched on this need for belonging, but belonging isn't something to seek. It's like if you are being you and the resonance that the honesty that you're providing, the integrity you have with self, and then in the communication of accepting invitations or what have you, like that resonance attracts like resonance. So it's almost like the belonging becomes magnetized to you versus seeking it, right? Like, so when we conform, we're actually not really belonging because the truth underneath that isn't how we want to be showing up anyway.
No, there's really trust in like just being yourself and noticing who like the energy of your souls brings into your life and what feels good. Like you don't have to force anything, contort yourself to fit into anything. Like they will naturally happen. I've really noticed like if this relationship or connection is for me for whatever reason, then the energy of it will flow to me. I spent too much time trying to make things happen. And now I'm in this place of I'm just going to show up in this space and be me, and what is attracted to me and what feels good is for me. It's much easier than we make it.
Right. I think it's important to name that if you're listening to this and you're someone who is moving through something like this or beginning to take note of how much you have changed and therefore how much your friendships and community have changed, is that I think you do go through this period of feeling alone, lonely, right? And I've seen this, I've experienced this myself, but I've also seen it in clients where they start honoring where they want to be, where they don't want to be. And one of the things that comes up is like, well, who are my people? Because I feel really alone right now. I feel really alone right now. And just really trusting the path. Trust it. You will go through a time that might feel lonely, and you will be, it might be a weekend where you wish you could be with people. But here's the thing. Let's say that you're going through this and you're very naturally creating space between you and a certain group of people that no longer resonates with you. And you're like, well, you know what, whatever. And there's an awareness, right? You will notice how uncomfortable you feel. Trust and have patience in the loneliness, because it's giving you the opportunity to know who you are. And your people always come. Your people always come. Your community always shows up. It will. You just have to trust that momentary spaciousness
Yeah.
that a lot sometimes doesn't feel pleasant.
Yeah. And in that spaciousness is actually where the opening up comes for the new resonant relationships to come in, right?
Yeah.
But it's super uncomfortable. I've gone through series and cycles of that over and over again in the last like 7 years. And there's grief that comes up in that,
Yep.
because the relationships are nuanced and there was shared beauty in those past relationships that maybe aren't so present anymore,
Right.
but it doesn't mean that relationship wasn't meaningful or valuable, or so yeah, it can be really sort of confusing and sad and lonely.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this conversation, it's happening so timely because we are moving out of eclipse season at this moment in time, and eclipse season showed us so much with such honesty. And what I noticed in people is a lot of their relationships changing. And so we hope that whatever it is, all of the things that we spoke of today are of service in some way. I mean, I know this has been something to heal for me personally. So we hope that it is helpful to you all as well. So to finish up, do you ladies have any offerings happening at this moment in time that you want to share with everyone else?
Thank you. It has been a personal journey for me in this topic as well, and so it feels really good to be in conversation with you both today. As for offerings, my calendar is open on Mondays for exploratory chats. If you are interested in a partner that can support you in building a brand that feels true to you, where you are now and where you're headed. And by the time that this episode airs, I will have a refreshed website to explore. So patsykenny.com.
Nice.
Yay! Thank you.
What about
And
you,
yes,
Ash? Do you have anything going on?
oh yeah, and I did want to say this conversation is such an important one for me because it has been a journey of relationship and connecting and community and finding my own way with it. So, as much as I can speak about who I am in relationship today, it wasn't always like this. So thank you all for this topic. And yes, I'm offering ongoing intuitive and mediumistic readings on my website. You can book there. And I'm a part of the In Bloom Summit, hosted by Real Love Ready, and it's in Vancouver in April. So it's a love and relationship summit. I will be speaking with my partner, Lair Torrent, and other beautiful speakers that will be there. It's pretty incredible. So check it out if you're interested. And we'll all be there. Yeah, so that's me.
How about you,
Beautiful.
Millie?
So I have the year ahead readings, so that the calendar for that is open. Um, I think 2026 is a year that has so much potential, and so I'm really looking forward to doing those year ahead readings. Head to astroconsciousness.com. It's a 75-minute reading. I will be going month to month. Bring an intention, bring in your vision, and let's work with the cosmos to align with what's best for that. I'm so excited.
Beautiful. They are the best. It's one of
They're
the
really
best things you can gift yourself as you're heading into the new year.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Well, thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you all so much for your feedback. We love to receive feedback from you all. It helps guide the conversations of the podcast. And until next time.
Yes. Thank you.
Ciao.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us. If something stirred your soul or made you smile, share it with a friend or leave us a review. Until next time.